Sounds good. While Ella is finding her questions, I'm going to go back to this PowerPoint. We'll go over some questions on 3.5, then we'll start 3.6, and it's more about functions. But functions on Thursday was more like, is it a function? Okay, now today we are going to deal with functions, and we're going to do certain things with them. Okay, that's okay, Scott. All right, so this is really today, function notation is objective 1, and then objective 2 is we're going to go over lines. Okay, function notation, I'm going to put up a PowerPoint slide. Now this is in your notes. And I'll kind of make my own notes, but go ahead and read that while I kind of get myself organized. And was it Ella? I think you had asked a question. If we might have to answer it at the end of class, but we'll see how things go, okay? Don't forget that quiz 3 is due by tonight. Let me go back to that quiz 3. I am not going to, for this one, for you guys, collect that work, okay? So it's kind of like whatever you get is what you get for quiz 3. All right, so let's go back to this PowerPoint. All right. Now, it's kind of weird. I mean, once we talk about it, it's not that bad. Oh, come on. I can't get down to my PowerPoint now. You gotta be kidding me. Okay, here we go. So, when you're talking about function notation, usually they talk about, let me just show you this example that they use. Okay, so here's this right here. I'm going to write it 2 different ways. We're going to say old way, which is y equals 9x minus 5. Okay, that's the old way. The new way, or function notation, is basically saying instead of y equals, we're going to say f of x equals. And one of the reasons why they use f of x is because of function. So the word function starts with the letter f, so they're going to use f of x instead. It's a little bit fancier way, but when you usually see it written in function notation, that means it is a function. Okay? And we're going to be dealing with that all today. One thing you want to make sure that you have on your paper is that y equals f of x. Y equals f of x. Okay? So this old way, if I were to graph this problem here, once you write x and y and you pick numbers for x, substitute it in there, and you solve for y. Okay. Well, down here now, instead of x and y, we're going to say x and f of x. But f of x is y. So you'll see that in some of your homework. So say y equals f of x or f of x equals y. So that's what you'll see on that. Okay? All right. Now let's look at, whoops, went the other direction. Okay, so go ahead and write this problem down while I take roll. Oh, and this is not going to be good. Change your color to green when I call your name because I can't, oh, this is going to be interesting. Lacey, Sarah, Ella. Change your color to green, please. Emma, Danielle, Jacob. Melody, Scott, John Matthews. Brad, Tish, Kirsten. Naomi and Amanda. Who's underneath Amanda? Is it you, Jessica? And Jacob, go ahead and, thank you. Jessica's still typing. Jacob, yep. Nope, that's okay, Jessica. I just can't go back up to that screen. It's just frustrating today. Oh, now where is my little dot? Okay, so This is what this is saying. This is the old way. Old way is saying find y when x equals -3. And this is your equation, y equals 6x minus 2. This is the old way. And so what would we do? We would stick in -3 wherever we saw x. That's the same thing. So look over here now. Here's your x. Okay, now wherever we see x, we're going to put in -3. So here's another x. So we're going to say f of -3, we're going to substitute that in, equals 6 times, and wherever you see x, just put parentheses, -3 minus 2. And all you're going to do is you're going to simplify the right-hand side. So f of -3 is equal to -20. And for your homework, you're probably just going to put in the number -20, but just double check. I bet you that's all you're going to have to do. Tish, you can't hear anything? Oh, that's not good. Okay, so let's look at another problem. Let's look at another problem. I keep hitting the wrong button. Okay, do this one 32. Do 32. We're not going to worry about this one over here. Do 32. Yeah, make sure that your computer at home is set up to be able to use Link. And I think it was Emma, Emma, didn't you call tech support today and they helped you out a lot? Yes. So they helped Emma out just to make sure that her computer was set up properly. Oh my goodness, Brad, you are fast. Okay, good. So let's look at that. So they're saying f of -2. They don't say x equals -2, but if you compare, that's essentially what they're saying, right, Brad? Brad, you are funny. So we have 4 plus 6 minus 2, and Brad is correct. So f of -2 is 8. Okay? Now, what if I were also to have said, let me change colors here, find f of 0. Now, they're going to assume, sometimes they're going to ask you to find a whole bunch of things. Whatever function they give, you keep using that function. Keep using that function. Go ahead and try that one. And then I'm going to do one more. I'm going to see if you guys understand this. What if I were to say, find f of a? That's interesting. Okay, so f of 0, what'd you all get for f of 0? Ugh, I can't get back down here. I have like these dual monitors, split screen. And someone came in and changed everything. Okay, good. F of 0, I'm going to try not to change back. So that is 0 squared minus 3 times 0 minus 2. So you get 0 minus 0 minus 2, -2. Okay, now what about this f of a? That one's kind of weird, isn't it? What's f of a? What do you do for f of a? Go ahead and unmute yourself, okay? What does f of a mean? Wherever you see x, you're going to substitute in for a. Wherever you see x, you're going to substitute in a. Okay, so if you want to, some people write the f of x above it, just as a guideline. So wherever you see x, you're going to put in a. So a squared minus 3a minus 2, and you're done. You're done. Okay, that's it. Kind of neat. So the variable seems confusing, but it's actually not as hard. Yeah, I understand. Okay, let's look at, let's look at this one. There's 3 different ones. I want you to try. Now, this is a different function. So what would you say for this one? Go ahead and try that. Now again, wherever you see x, you're going to put in whatever's in parentheses. So negative 3 times this negative 3 plus 5 all over 2. So if we're using different colors, this is going to go in for x. So it went in for x there, and it went in for x there. And if there were more x's, you would put more in there. So you've got, what is that, 9 plus 5 divided by 2. Very good. Very good, Naomi. Okay, f of t. What's f of t? All you're doing is you're substituting in t wherever you see x. So in your homework, you're going to have to make sure you type it in carefully, but other than that, that's it. Now this last one is a little bit different. Okay, now some people like to do this. They like to write the f of x right above it. And wherever we see x, we're going to substitute in what? Wherever we see x, we're going to substitute in what? The a minus 7. Perfect. So whatever's in parentheses here, whatever's in parentheses, that's what gets substituted in. So if we're going to copy this original function, we've got f of something is equal to negative 3 times something plus 5 all over 2. That's what this is saying up here. Negative 3 times something plus 5 all divided by 2. But instead of x, we're going to substitute in our a minus 7. So instead of x, we're going to put a minus 7. I'm going to put a minus 7 there. And then the rest is to simplify. So what would you do to simplify? Yep, distribute. That's what I would do first. Good. So I have negative 3a plus 21 plus 5 all over 2. Simplify your numerator. Now, technically, we could stop here, right? I could say this is my answers for f of a minus 7. But if you want to go further, you can. So if you split this up, you've got negative 3a over 2 plus 13. Either of these answers is okay. You don't have to split it up if both of them don't simplify. So this one simplified, this one did not. So you don't have to split it up. The only time you have to split it up is if both of them simplify. Okay? Let's go on. Let's look at another problem. Are you guys doing okay so far? Any questions? Okay. How about other people? How are you doing? Kind of weird. Okay. Now, I'm going to go through this one. This is how the book shows it, which is fine. Sometimes you're going to use a different letter like G. the very famous letters for functions are f, g, and h. So f of x, g of x, h of x. Okay, so just so you know, they might use a different letter than f. But if you notice, they substitute in m minus 2 in for x. So wherever they see an x, they're going to put in m plus 2, rather, m plus 2. And you're just simplifying the right-hand side. That's it. So for your homework, you'll probably only have to type that in the box. But that is what g of m plus 2 is. Okay, now this is like your homework number 8. This is like your homework number 8. So I want you to look at it and read it over. I'm going to give you a few seconds to read it over, and I want you to tell me what you think of it. Sunny isn't here. Are you Sunny? Sunny Yang? Okay, so anyone have an idea of what to do with this?
It kind of looks to me like it would be 0.
Okay, but what would you do? What would you do? Now, because you're thinking 6 minus 6 is 0, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot more complicated than that. And I like how Lacey unmutes herself. Go ahead and mute yourself. It's a lot quicker, and I think people might understand it.
4x plus 3 minus negative x squared plus 2x plus 9.
Okay, very, very close. Good. I think that was Jessica. I'm not sure. I can't even see anymore. Today's going to be a horrible day. But anyways, see how she's saying the f function minus the g function? Okay, so what she just said was f of x minus g of x. Okay, you could do that. But if they're asking you f of 6 minus g of 6, so you're on the right track. You're subtracting your f minus your g. What does f of 6 mean? What does f of 6 mean? No, not to times 6.
It means, f of 6 means, 6 times the formula.
Not times. So you have to be careful. And I understand, right? It looks like times 6. 6 times the function. It's not time. This is function notation. So what it means is you're going to substitute 6 in for x. So I'm going to do f of 6 in orange. Okay? So I'm just going to do that on the side here. F of 6 is 4 times 6 plus 3, right? Because f of x is 4x plus 3. So f of 6 is 24 plus 3, or 27. Okay, so that's f of 6. We got that one. How do you figure out g of 6? Same kind of way. But instead of for g, we have to use the g's function. You have to use the g's function. So here's your g's function. So I'm going to do it over here. G of x, I'm just going to write it down. Sometimes that's helpful. So g of 6 is equal to negative 6 squared plus 2 times 6 plus 9. So we're just following the pattern. Wherever we see x, that 6 is going to go in for x. Okay, now I have to be careful on this one. What is that? Is this negative 36 or positive 36? Okay, it's negative 36. Why is that? Why is that negative 36? Yeah, the negative's on the outside. Very good. Good memory. So what does this go to then? G of 6 is negative 15. Okay, so now we have to put these two things together. So this f of 6 minus the g of 6, that's this guy here. That's going to equal your answer to the green, f of 6 is 27, minus your g of 6 is purple, negative 15. So what's my final answer then for this? What is that? 42. Perfect. So 42 is all that you're going to put in. They're probably just going to want the answer. So is it pretty important to show your work? I mean, it looks simple when you just look at f of 6 minus g of 6, but there's actually a lot of work behind it. Okay, let's go on. And stop if you have questions. Okay, now we're going to go on to kind of a more thought-provoking. Okay, so the thing on the right-hand side is what we're used to. So they're going to say find f of 2 for each function. So these are two completely different problems. This is, you guys should know over here. If I said f of 2, wherever you see x, you're going to substitute in 2, right? That's what f of 2 means. So what would my answer be here? Negative 4. Okay, that's all you would put in. Now, does anyone understand on the left? It's kind of a different concept. What does f of 2 mean? Fill in the blanks. What does that really mean? F of 2 means to find what when what equals 2. Now, remember from the beginning I said always assume that y equals f of x. Y equals f of x every single time. So f of 2 means to find what? Good. Find y or f of x, same thing, y equals f of x, when what equals 2? When what equals 2? Close. Remember, these are all f of x. So what's in place of 2? What's in where the 2 is? X. So x is equal to 2. Your f is the y value, and your inside number is your x value. So the inside number is your x value. So where is our x value equal to 2? This is hard. This is a hard concept for a lot of people. Where is your x value equal to 2? Now we're looking up here. Where is our x value equal to 2? This is our x, this is our y. This is our x, this is our y. Aha. So if x is equal to 2, your y value, or f of x, is 6. F of x or y. So down here, when they say what is f of 2, what would you write? What is f of 2? What would you write? 6. That's your answer. So this is your x value, and this is your y value, or f of x. That is a little bit hard for people to understand. If you wanted to, you could draw a t-chart out of this. So you could say this is x, this is y, which is the same thing as f of x. 2, 6, 4, 2. So when x was 2, Your y is 6. If that helps, you can write it that way. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, now let's look at another problem. Let's look at 34 here. Find f of 2 that way. What is f of 2? That's really what that means. Okay, good, A. So when x is equal to 2, f of x is equal to 8. Very good. So you might see it in the t-chart. You might see it as points. You might see it as an equation. Okay, now you also might see it as a graph. You might see it as a graph. And this can be a little bit tricky too. So let's refer to this graph over here. Refer to this graph. Okay? And let's constantly remind ourselves that y equals f of x. Y equals f of x. So what does 2 represent? What does 2 represent? The x or the y? The x. Very good. So what are they asking us to do? What are they asking us to do? We know that x equals 2. Find what? Good. Okay, so when x equals 2, here's 1 and here's 2. Follow it up till you get to the graph, and then go over, and what's my y value? One, right? So y equals 3. But in your homework, what that means is f of 2 is equal to 3. Why did I put 3? Sorry, 1. See, I'm not feeling good. Whew. 1 and 1. Sorry about that. Okay, let's look at the next